gonna be. But tomorrow.
Ain't Wednesday.
Hey neighbor.
How you doing?
I'm alright, how are you?
Oh, not too bad. Had twins out there last night.
Did ya? I found this little pile of some kind of weird, something in my yard. I think the skunk's been coming at night.
Well, there was a groundhog the other day.
Really?
It was running from Patty Hiram's yard through my old garden area towards. So.
I would much rather think it was a groundhog living under the shed than a skunk.
I haven't seen it. Maybe things are
Moved along.
yeah.
Six now.
Six now, okay. So we'll go ahead and call to order the special meeting. Stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Rader,
Present.
Carol Rayfield.
Here.
Dave Smith.
Here.
Mike Engelman.
Here.
Jeremy Holland.
Here.
Mark McAtee.
Present.
Attorney Stephen Teeterball.
Present.
Clerk Treasurer Lauren Carrico. Present.
All right, under the meeting tonight, we've got a review of the downtown event.
Yes, so, yeah, the purpose of today's meeting is to review the Board of Works decision on the Pride Fest special event application. Attorney Douglas Hoffman has recommended that we allow the event to be held downtown this year for the following reasons. Number one, the event was previously approved by the prior administration downtown. We do have litigation that is currently pending, and there's been a history of what few events we've had that they have been traditionally held downtown. Now, while we believe we can ultimately change where special events are held, and we may have to do some modifications to the current ordinance, we do remain convinced that that will be something that can be achieved. So I think it's best if we open this meeting up to some discussions about what area in the downtown area should be blocked off, and some manner, or what should be approved for the festival and what manner that should be, and perhaps a little discussion about the use of the stage, insurance coverage, and any other concerns that any council members have with regards to this permit.
Okay, I guess I'm gonna have a couple questions here. You said you do have the insurance
Yes.
It's on
Okay.
file, you can ask her.
on file? Okay. What are you guys doing or planning for traffic control?
Barricades like we did last year. Same as Summerfest.
Yeah, same, what kind of traffic control did Summerfest have?
Well, it's not the city's responsibility to provide barricades or traffic control for a private event. That was a city event that we had, it's our
Oh, so
responsibility.
we're gonna go down that road.
We'll just block
We'll
them.
block it with cars then?
Yeah.
I mean,
We use vehicles.
That's what I wanted to find out.
okay.
Anticipated number of people.
Couple hundred.
Okay, stage, you taking the stage 2?
Yes.
And that's already got paid, or?
It'll be paid as soon as you guys approve.
Okay, with that being said, I'm gonna make a recommendation on what streets should be closed. Because,
I will say we have 15 vendors this year,
okay.
a couple food trucks, so we really need Main Street. That's just
I'm
non-negotiable.
not gonna give Main Street up.
Alright, well then,
Then
we'll
we're
see in
gonna be-
court.
Because I know what it takes for food vendors and stuff like that. You got 15, that's a 10 by 10 area. If you got a food truck, maybe a 10 by 20.
You also
You
have
got
a couple
two,
hundred,
I think 2 food trucks, correct me if I'm wrong.
you got a couple hundred attendees, so.
And there's plenty of space out there.
So what's the holdup on Main Street? What's the reason for that?
Yeah,
Because it's a 7-hour event.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you gotta have it closed down for 3.5 days for 7 hours, because it has to be set up on a Friday night.
No.
No, our workers
You
don't do Saturday morning.
you only block off for the event.
No.
The
The stage is sitting out there, we're not gonna,
the stage will be at the end and you'll still be able to use Line Street.
no. We're not gonna block off that
All right,
thoroughfare.
we'll see
All
in
right,
court.
then in court we go, Betty.
You don't have to have,
Yes, sir.
for a
Gotcha.
7-hour event,
I heard
3
you.
days down.
All right. We will contact ACLU and let them
We've
know.
modified here that we could have the square, around the square, we said, north line up to Wood Street and, John Street, or North Street there.
And the stage takes up a big piece of that real estate too, so you're just not
Well,
being
actually,
reasonable.
you can put the stage right here on the south side where get my,
Well, you know what?
where
You're
the
not gonna tell
triangle's
us where
there,
to
you can
put
set the stage right here. It does not take up, it keeps the street open, it helps block the street for you, and it gives you plenty of,
There's plenty of other access around, Main Street. And the only business you're talking about, because you brought
we
that
don't
up.
want the stage blocking that street for 3.5 days. That's unfair to the citizens for a 7-hour
So
private
Summerfest
event.
is unfair to the citizens too, when you set that up.
It's a 3-day event. The
I-
stage
I
cannot be
can't help
taken
the
down over the
ignorance here.
weekend.
It's all right,
So-
we'll let Ken handle
Okay.
this.
When the gospel group had their event, the stage was set up at the edge of East Main facing North Line
We're not a
Street.
gospel
not a
group and they
gospel
had
event.
maybe 20 people,
They had it for the same time frame,
about 20 people.
and that's where the stage was put. It would
It's what they
suffice to
asked
have the
for.
stage at the
We're,
same
we're
location.
not Ernie's gospel, okay?
You guys expecting 200, right? Am I right?
Approximately, yes, Carol.
Or more. You
Yeah,
never know.
you never know.
Well, the Summerfest had several thousand.
The space that we're talking about would be more than accommodating for what you're trying to do.
Well,
Okay,
I think you can do
listen.
that for us.
Listen, this is between
Okay,
Ken
do
Pollock
it.
and their attorney at this
Okay.
point.
All right.
Brian?
Yes,
Hi there, may I speak?
sure.
Okay, my name is Yvonne Lauren, and I've been involved with LGBT stuff since the 60s. I started the first group with other people in the tri-state and worked with the second group, and now I'm president of Warwick Pride. And it doesn't sound undoable, does it, to let the folks have the main part of town for a day? What about, how long does it take to set up the stage and who does it?
City does it.
It takes
Okay,
a half a day to set that thing up, several hours.
how big is the stage that it has to be set up 3 days ahead? I'm not understanding. I do prides now. I understand about insurance. I've spoken all over. I understand about putting together a pride. I've worked on many. We set ours up in a day, and it covers the latest one I'm working on. We set it up in a day, and it covers the whole riverfront in Newburgh. Now granted, we have a little in-place stage there, but we don't have to go 3 days early or do all that, but there's plenty.
Our city employees set it up, so they'd have to set it up on Friday, and it would not be taken down until the following Monday.
And are
So
they
you're
the
set,
only
you're set.
people, if there's working, I understand that, they work on Friday, you might not want to do that. Is there no way that other people could be brought in to set up that stage? We're not talking about a huge stage, I would assume.
Or I suppose we
No,
could make it
because
a
that-
3-day event. We could have,
There you go.
we could have our
make it a
pride
three-day
start
event.
Friday, Saturday,
Takes the
Sunday.
liability.
What about liability? You can insure for liability, but you know, the law does say everybody gets treated the same. Everybody, and it doesn't matter what group, and I think, I don't know you personally. What I know about Loogootee is, my uncle was here, he had his leg blown off in Normandy, and he was one of the main guards at Crane. And I remember, back in these early times when I would talk to him about various stuff,
Well, we're
he
here-
didn't necessarily agree with it, but what he did agree was everybody needed to be treated equal. I have relatives up here, they're not opposed to such things. And I think that it's not just a matter of ordinance if you've let other people be on the square.
Well, that was in the prior administration.
Well, I think there's a certain amount of expectation that you would honor the agreement made by the prior administration.
Well, actually, the prior administration went against the advice of the city attorney, the actual city attorney at that time, and the city attorney made the recommendation to table it until it came into the new administration, so take that for what it's worth.
But the decision was
Because-
made to
because
go
the
ahead
city-
and have
They
it.
made a decision against what their city attorney made that recommendation.
Yeah, and that happens in life,
It
you know,
does.
you know. Sometimes you
It
take
does.
your attorney's advice and sometimes you don't, and sometimes you regret it. But I would like to see this worked out in an amicable way because, I hope at least that the law will be on the side of equality.
Well, and we don't have a problem with quality, but I will say this, our city insurance attorneys, we had spoken with them over the phone, and we asked them about if we had to block off the same streets or whatever, they said, no, we had the right to determine which streets could be blocked off, and that strictly came from our city insurance attorneys.
Mhm.
So we asked about that, and that's why we're keeping Main Street open, because it's a major thoroughfare. It
It's
doesn't need to be
not.
closed for a seven-hour event.
Well, my experience in
So-
Loogootee is there's never been a huge rush unless you've had a big event. And, you know, I would hope that you would reconsider that, even though the attorney may have recommended against it. It sounds like it passed. And I used to investigate discrimination cases for a period of time, and, I hope that they get to have their event where they
They
wanna
can have
have
their
it.
event, we've offered up and
Where
everything.
they
for it.
want
We've
to
had-
have it,
And it is,
because it
so.
was approved by the previous administration. And
Okay.
I think that may end up hurting everybody, that this has to go further, but I'm not an attorney. But, I do think this needs to be rectified, because they were allowed to have it, and now you're saying no.
No, we're not
And-
saying
We're not
no,
saying
and
no.
and I'm gonna say
Well,
for
you're
the
saying no, they can't have it in the place of their choice, which other people have had
What
in
I'm
the
gonna
past.
say is, I do wanna get this clarified on the record, we have never once denied Pride Fest the opportunity to have something downtown.
I understand that, and I.
But it
believe-
was reported
Mhm.
that we denied them on the request, we have never denied them the request.
You just kicked it
you
down the
did.
road,
We
kicked
kicked
it
it down the road
kicked it
because
down
we
the
were,
road.
we were searching, after we went to our seminar and training on the recommendation stuff, so, you know, we wanted to get policies in place, that's not
No, you
denying.
flat out told us downtown was off. You wanted to send us to the city park, you never
Our
told
ordinance says
us.
city park or downtown, and the Board of Works chose the city park. Now we're here, we're giving you an opportunity downtown, and you're not happy with that, so I'm not gonna have any more discussion on this, I can ask the council to make a motion. Someone
Thank
wanna
you
make a
for your
motion on where to
time,
host it?
gentlemen. And all gentlemen, okay, thank you.
Are you closing discussion
No.
to the public?
You made the motion.
hang on a minute. When you look at the space downtown, from a number standpoint, you're basically almost the same amount of square feet.
You know,
So,
I've never
size is
stood
not-
outside and counted on Main Street on a Saturday, but I bet you all the 20 cars go by on Main Street all day on a Saturday.
But when you look at the square footage that you had last year, and you didn't even use the triangle part of it, because that's just blocked off because of traffic, can't get through. The numbers are almost a wash as far as square footage, so you're gonna have the same amount of square feet basically as what you had last year using East Main Street.
No, we had East
So-
Main Street, we had Line Street down to
I'm
North
counting-
Street, we
I'm
had.
counting all that up.
What?
I said, I've taken all that in consideration. So, yes, sir.
I just had, I noticed you said something about that was on the previous administration, but I just wanna remind everyone that the Constitution overrides any type of administration or rules of decorum or whatever you wanna say. It doesn't matter which administration is up here, it comes down to the Constitution and constitutional rights. No one's above that.
So the streets proposed are, if someone wants to make a motion on this, is to use North Line Street, north of East Main Street up until Wood Street. And then North Street from North Line east until First Street, I think that's northeast First Street there by, the old bank. And then Public Square Street. You guys can take a look at the drawing here.
I'd like to see that drawing myself, because I don't remember anything about Wood Street in our request.
It's to the south of Wood Street, it's not actually on Wood Street.
You wanna see this?
Please. Take a picture.
Well, you get a copy, I think your attorney's got a copy of it too.
Mayor, I've got a question. If this does go to court, and city loses, are we responsible for the ACLU attorney fees?
So, it depends upon exactly what the judge's ruling would be, at court, and whether or not it's covered by the insurance company. But I wouldn't necessarily put it out of the realm of possibilities. I can't guarantee you that the city wouldn't be liable for it, but it would depend upon many factors.
I imagine it wouldn't be cheap.
We understand
Why not
that
close
they
the road
bill,
and save money? You go.
I understand they bill $1,100 an hour.
It's gonna be expensive for the city.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is.
Big old ego.
And I understand that house that y'all bought in the very beginning has $150,000 worth of asbestos abatement to go get that
You
working
have
as a
report on that
garage.
As far as how much money that is, and that's irrelevant to tonight's meeting.
I mean, I'm just making a comment about spending money that the city shouldn't be wasting.
Excuse me, have you guys, I just got here, have you guys,
Great.
is there a chance for just any member of the public to speak? Is this an open forum? Or can there be comments made by the public? I understand this gentleman asked a question, but has anybody given a statement, or is that kind of thing allowed here today?
Yeah, there's been a couple at this time.
Okay. Could you, if you guys wouldn't mind bringing me up to speed, so is there a motion on the table? Are you guys getting ready to vote on something?
We were getting ready to, it hasn't taken place yet.
Okay. Would it be okay with the council if I made a statement?
Hang on a second. Stephanie, you got something?
Yeah, I just wanna say, I worked in this community for a really long time, working with the youth. And I just want everyone up there to know that our youth are watching you. And the LGBTQ community is growing. And they're looking at you guys right now to see how they're gonna be treated in this community. And I just wanna put that out there.
Thank you. You wanna say something, sir?
May I?
Yeah.
So my name's Jason McCoy, I'm a citizen of Martin County, and I've been paying attention to this situation for the past few months when I caught wind that City Hall was picking on two of our citizens here, and that their rights may be being infringed upon, which is a very sore soft spot with me. That hits a nerve with me when any official oversteps their boundaries and picks on somebody, especially the person that they've been elected to, whose rights to uphold. And so I'm drawn to a cause like that, like a moth to flame. It's not really my job to stand up for somebody necessarily. I don't get paid to do that. But it's important to me. I grew up being picked on, and I don't like seeing anybody get picked on. I don't like to see the abuse of anybody. I called out the county commissioner for 10 minutes in an open meeting over at the courthouse for parking in the handicap spot about a month ago. So I personally, as a citizen, take things like this very seriously. And so when I heard that this was going on, I did a deep dive. And I talked to these folks, expecting to hear the worst. And I happened to see Tim Brown-Salzman in town and asked him to sit down and visit with me on the issue. And he and I spoke for an hour. And I shared some thoughts with him, and he shared some thoughts with me. He enlightened me on some things. I don't know if I enlightened him on anything, but he was kind enough to share what is obviously a very personal issue. And in there, one of the things that we talked about was this, and that they were fighting to be able to have this thing here, and that Summerfest was here, and so this ought to be able to be here. And he shared his feelings at Summerfest. If Summerfest should be allowed to come, well, then the Gay Pride Fest should be allowed to come. Also in that conversation, he shared that during Summerfest, he took offense to the FUCK Joe Biden flag that was in one of the booths at the Summerfest. I don't like that either. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see the picture of the naked girl on the back of the semi-trailer's mud flap. It offended my mom. It's always has offended me. I don't want to see a masonry contractor with a bumper sticker that says bricklayers lay anything. It's offensive. I don't want to see it. But he talked at great length about how he complained until that flag was removed from that booth. And then he also talked about how the rebel flag was a terribly racist thing. It had no place in our society at all, none whatsoever. And I shared with him that I lived in North Carolina in the mountains with those people for 10 years. And I said, I felt the same way, but the flag doesn't mean that to them. It means something completely different. No, it does. He wouldn't hear it. Last time we were in these chambers, he asked these two gentlemen right here, can we make an ordinance where the public officials can't make statements that are racist or homophobic? So the same thing that the city, us, we, all of you, are being sued for right now, that they're claiming is being violated by us. They don't want them to have the same right to their First Amendment right to free speech. So my kids have a recreation company here in Martin County. There's 100 people in this place right here south of town. Every weekend there's 100 people, men, women, children. There's 2 trans people that show up, play airsoft every single Friday. And everybody who comes to play airsoft, military guys, ex-cops, current cops, people from all walks of life come and play airsoft right next to these trans people. Not one single problem. No hate, no transphobe, anything. They're just other people. That's all they are. They're just other people, okay? So one of the things I did, and when I did my deep dive on Mr. Brown Salzman, was I talked to other members of the gay community here in Loogootee and in Jasper. I know those people over there. And I said, these people, what's going on with these people? They're our friends, we love them, but they want to fight. They have an agenda. We feel like they're weaponizing the gay agenda. It's cool to be gay right now. Everybody's gay. Nobody wants to be left out. These kids that you talk about, hey, don't leave me out, I'm probably trans too. That's what's kind of going on. And whatever, my kids aren't in school, but the point is that as hard as I look to see a violation on the part of these people right here, who we're the boss of, I couldn't find it. I couldn't find any hate, I couldn't find any transphobe anything. What I did find was Tim not wanting to accept the F Joe Biden flag. I don't either, but I won't say that. Not want to accept things that don't fit in with his personal agenda. There's a consensus in Jasper, and these folks have been told by their counterpart or by their friends in Jasper, suing people is not the way to do this. You're threatening them. And that's what I've heard every time I'm in here, threats. I walked in here and the first thing I heard was threats. How much is it gonna cost if the city loses? That's a threat. That's very expensive. It's a threat. I don't want anybody in our community to be picked on or to be made to feel like they're less than. I explained to Mr. Brown Salzman, I said, you've probably fought your whole life to be accepted. I can understand that. On some level, I've felt the same way. But moving forward, I think you guys have a duty to represent all of us and to act in accordance with what's in the town's best interest. And if you vote to allow a special interest group, you know, the Summerfest is a city thing. Everybody wants to come to Summerfest, but not everybody necessarily wants to come in town for a Ku Klux Klan festival, should I decide to have one. I'm not a Ku Klux Klan member, but if I was, right? Are we gonna go through this? Am I gonna threaten you? Should I be allowed as a citizen to come in and threaten you like these folks are? I don't think so. I think it's a slippery slope. And I'm concerned about our due process being followed. Due process, I knew Trump won. There was no doubt in my mind.
Due process is 2 minute limit on public speech.
So do you live in the city?
But when I'll answer that here in just a second. Okay.
And no threats wouldn't be made, so
But when,
don't be.
please, I haven't asked for much. But when the Supreme Court said, no, we're not gonna support, that was it for me. Due process is very important, and I'm concerned that our due process here in this case isn't being allowed to happen because we're not being represented by our city attorney. The city's case is being represented and defended against the insurance company's attorneys, who in business I know, they don't want to defend a case. They want to settle. Just give whoever what they want because we don't want to spend any money. So the court in this case has not heard the city's best argument. And for that, I'm concerned. It feels like moral hazard to me. So I'll close with that. And if anybody has a question for me, I'm happy to answer it. Yes, sir.
I do. You're speaking wrong when you say you talk to people in Du Bois County and they're against us. I can tell you that the mayor of Jasper came to me and told me that you were hounding him about their Pride event, same as you are here.
Hounding?
I
doubt that Dean Vonderheit said that.
Well, it may not have been that word, that you were coming worried about their Pride event and our Pride event. My question is, why are you so worried about Pride events?
If that's not a rhetorical question, I'd like to answer it.
No, answer it, seriously.
So I have a great deal of respect for how, I have a great deal of respect for how the Pride community was dealt with over in Du Bois County. I understood that there were people in Du Bois County when the Pride event happened there that were coming and trying to disrupt it. And my hope was that the rumors I heard were true about those people who were trying to disrupt Pride Fest over there got arrested. And Dean confirmed for me that they did. That they arrested those people that were trying to disrupt the Pride event over there. And that warmed my heart to hear that. Any other questions for me?
wanna pass that map down to
Does
the
the council member wanna make a motion to,
Somebody's.
who's got the map that he can take a look at real quick?
Who wants it? I would like to see
Make a motion. You made it? You? Did you make it? No.
I'll make the motion.
To go with what's proposed on that map?
Goes with what you said, yeah, exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, what streets are actually closed with it.
And the orange marks the streets that are closed?
Yes. It's gonna be North Line Street, north of East Main Street to Wood Street, or south of Wood Street, the beginning of Wood Street. North Street, east of, North Line to, I think it's Northeast First Street, and then the street in front of, or just north of the, square, Public Square Street. Those three areas that's in the outlines of the map. The triangle coming up off the railroad tracks and East Main will remain open.
Carol made the motion, I'll second.
Okay, Carol's motion, Micah seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
A second?
Second.
Second by Carol, made by Mike, all in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to get a copy of that.
Yeah,